Hello, everybody. Welcome to Talk About Houses. I'm Todd.
I'm Juana.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about home sellers going on strike.
Are they French?
They're not on French. They're not French.
They're not French.
They're not French.
Okay.
They're not anything.
Well, because the French go on strike all the time.
The French go on strike. They're on strike. Aren't they on strike right now because of the increase in the retirement wage or
The
retirement age?
Yes.
They're trying to raise it to 65 from 60 or something.
I don't remember exactly
Okay.
what it is, but they're trying to raise it and they're on strike.
Okay. It has nothing to do with housing in the U.S., but this was an article from Barron's. It was interesting because it has data from all the stuff we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put a link to the article in it because there's a goodie that I'm going to share with you later on. In the article, you'll be able to play with a little tool, and depending on what market you go see, like it gives you some very cool data on your market.
Okay.
So this is something you probably don't have. Okay, so let's first talk about, before we jump into the first thing here, what is our theory, our going theory, why there's so few homes on the market right now? We were told high interest rates, the housing market would flood with properties, that would be a bubble, it would burst, and the housing market would crash. Actually, the opposite's happening. The inventory is going away. Why is that?
Right. So what I've been saying for over 6 months now is that sellers are not in a position where they want to give up their low interest loans and put their house on the market and then go out and shop for another house. So because sellers don't want to put their homes on the market, this is where we are. Hence, sellers being on strike being our statement.
Okay. So we're going to read this thing, then show you the chart. This is according to Realtor.com. Only 349,000 U.S. homes were listed for sale in March of 23. That's below the 437 listed in March of 2022, period, which was infamous for tight supply and far behind the 470,000 in March 2018. So when people say, but Todd, the number of home sales is less homes are being listed. Mm-hmm. There were 437,000 homes listed in March, only 349,000 in this year. Okay, so let's go to the chart. New home listings coming onto the market. As you can see, there's the color on the line, and then there's the year that tells you which is which. Of course, that little March is low. This is the lowest number of homes that have come on the market in January, February, and March, at least in the last...
Since 2017.
2017, probably since 2011 or 12. Like, this is a super low number. We were having far more homes on the market. Matter of fact, it's probably the least since 2005 or 6.
Okay.
It's a super low number. Mm-hmm. This right here is the reason. Remember, in 2006, the opposite happened. Matter of fact, 2006 would even chart on here. It was so high, it was super high. And then everyone had to drop their prices to sell. We don't have enough homes coming on the market for people to have to drop their prices.
Right, and we've done previous videos and we've said, hey, the number of sellers having to drop their homes, the list price on their home is actually pretty low. And the idea of a seller having to do a price adjustment is not uncommon. It is actually very common in any market. The only market that wasn't common, but it did still happen, was last year when everything was flying off the market. But even sellers who came in at complete craziness, even they had to adjust their prices.
Okay, this creates another problem.
Okay,
if these people aren't putting their house on the market. Mm-hmm. You're saying, yeah, but as soon as interest rates drop, they'll put their house on the market, and that'll create a lot of inventory, right?
Well, not exactly, because what's going to happen is when they put their house on the market, so will their counterparts in whatever market they're looking to purchase. And because these people will not, it's going to be a chicken or the egg, right? So what's going to have to happen is actually people in the higher price points need to start turning the market first. Because generally what happens is we have move-up buyers, right? So the move-up buyers can't go until the houses up here are on the market. Then they'll go ahead and list their house. So this is a really important thing to keep in mind. It's different than other times. We're actually in a situation where we are depending on the higher priced homes to come on the market first in order to trigger the lower priced homes to come on the market. Because once the higher priced homes come on the market, that creates inventory for the lower priced homes to go ahead and go out and purchase, and then these people will sell. So it's an interesting dynamic.
There's another problem. People don't want to give up their 2 or 3% rates and get a 6% rate. So it's going to probably take interest rates to drop.
Right. So it's not going to be a 1-for-1. So just because the upper price homes have come on the market and the lower price home people can go ahead and go purchase these homes doesn't mean that these lower price home people are going to actually sell their homes. It just means that they're now able to purchase, not necessarily that they're going to sell. So you're going to have these homes down here that some will sell, so some will transact, but a lot of them won't. A lot of them will be turned to rentals because they make financial sense.
Yeah, and that's another problem. You're selling your house, you're buying another house. Mm-hmm. If you don't need the equity, why would you sell it?
You wouldn't.
Like, honestly.
You wouldn't. So I think you're going to find, depending on the market, you know how generally when we do the market updates, we have the 4 quarters of the market?
Yeah.
I think what you're going to see is that in the lower quarter, those people are probably more likely to not sell. In the next quarter up, I think those are going to be maybe a 70-30, 60-40 split.
Okay.
And you won't get to people actually going the other way, meaning more will sell then we'll keep them as rentals until you get to that 3rd quarter.
So above the median
Yeah.
price. Okay, that creates a problem because new entrants to the housing market are not buying. I mean, we just had somebody buy a house. It was like $700,000. It's their first house they ever bought in Vegas, which is well above the median, right? So but if you're a high income earner, that's just how it is, right? Okay. So here's the next slide. Active housing inventory for sale. This is the entire U.S., guys. All these charts are the whole U.S. This is not just Vegas data. Now, you can see the red of 2022 and then 2021. And then you can see black of 2023. And then all those other ones at the top. The 2020 is sort of that salmon colored. I don't know what color that is. And then those other colors, the green and stuff at the top. That's like more of a normal market. Mm-hmm. And then you can see in 2020, the normal market basically went away and we went to this world we're living in now. But that's why I laugh when people always point at like the lowest one, which was 2022, and try to compare everything on the planet to what happened in 2022. You can't make that comparison because we still have super low inventory. And if you look at normal years, like if you had not told people in 2022, if you had just shown people this graph in 2019, even 2020, and said this is what's going to happen in 2023, but didn't show them 2021 or 2022, they'd be like, whoa. They would probably go buy every house they could get their hands on because they can see what's happening here, okay? So it looks bad when you compare the inventory levels, but this is still historically super low inventory. And keep this in mind. You were all told that this couldn't possibly happen because the homes were now going to flood the market that no one could afford to buy. And that literally the inventory has been dropping. Inventory's been dropping.
Right.
It's still dropping.
But,
dropping in Vegas. We have an update to show you on that too.
Look, comparing any data to outliers doesn't make any sense. It does not lead to a reasonable conclusion. So that's why comparing any numbers to 2022 and 2021 is not prudent when you're trying to make an intelligent decision based on data.
Okay. Now I'm going to show you the next chart. When you see this, you naturally think, oh my gosh, this looks bad. Red is bad. This is the inventory change over the last 4 years in the US. So 2019, this chart would have been white. It would have been the baseline. White just means neutral or whatever light color that is, right? That red is actually the drop in inventory. So if you see it dark red, it's over 50% or less inventory than previously. Mm-hmm. So if there were 10,000 houses on the market, in a specific market, there's under 5,000 now. The blue areas, the blue ones, are where there's more inventory than 4 years ago. As you look at this chart, and then you have the blank areas which are not populated. They're probably not even, they don't have data for them because they're very low populations, okay? Or they're very close to no change. But when you look at this chart and see the red, this is literally the whole country. The whole country has a massive inventory shortage.
Right. Well, you're talking about population. So yes, this is not the whole country. It's just the population centers.
It's the population. It's where all the
Yes.
people are. It's all the people. So this is, everyone's going to want to say, oh, well, but since last year, forget last year, 2019, that was the last normal year. This is what we need to be focused on. Okay. I'm going to read a quote. Then I'm going to show you the fun bonus stuff.
I like fun bonus.
But to get to the bonus stuff, there's a special way to do it. Okay. Now I just showed, that was the country's 400 largest housing markets. Okay. That chart. Only 14 of them are back to pre-pandemic levels, meaning 2019. Idaho Falls, Logan, Utah, but 386 of the 400 major markets are still below 2019 inventory levels. That is not statistical anomaly. This is even including Bay Area. If you looked at that chart, remember the whole coast of California was red. It's the whole thing. This is not going to come back. Remember, this disappeared in 2020 with interest rates at 2%, right? Mortgage rates at 2%.
Right.
So you can't say interest rates is the culprit because low interest rates and everyone came and bought houses. Then when high interest rates came, it locked everybody in. Talk about that.
Right. And then, remember, this doesn't really keep in mind the craziness that just happened in California, in Southern California, with the people who sold their houses before. It was at LA that imposed a tax on people. The
millionaire. It was the tax on any house over $5 million, I think, in value. There was like a 5% extra, like a $250,000 extra tax.
Right.
If you sold it for, here's the ridiculous thing. I just want to make sure I'm getting this right. I'm pretty sure I am. If you sold the house for $500 or for $5 million, and they bought it for $5 million, you paid a $250,000 tax. So guess no one sold the house for $5 million. Guess what they sold it for?
$4,999,000.
There was zero tax. So you would be stupid to sell the house for $5 million. You'd be like, let's sell it for $4,999,000 because there wasn't even graduated scale. It was anything over that is like 5%, and anything under that there's no tax. So all these people were like, well, why would I sell it for 5.2? I would might as well just sell it for 4.99 and just not pay the tax.
Right.
But it was so ridiculous.
Well, it's kind of the same thing with FRIPTA and investors. If you sell the property for $300,000, you're good. If you sell it for $300,001, now you got to pay the FRIPTA tax. So there's no point in listing the house for $310,000. You may as well make sure that you're selling it for not a penny over $300,000, so you don't have to deal with the FRIPTA tax.
Okay. So there's a bunch of charts that you can access for your market or any market in the country. The charts look like this. The specific chart is Las Vegas. If you go into the description of the video, you'll see a link to the article. And if you scroll down, you'll see this chart. And I think it says like Abilene, because that's the first like alphabetical one. And you click on that where it says Abilene, and you can select any city. The dark red line is March. So it's March of this year, March of 22, 21, all the way back. And it shows you the going inventory levels. So you can see what's going on. I went through a bunch of these, and surprisingly, I couldn't find a market where inventory was like substantially more. I even went to Boise because I heard Boise was terrible, and literally inventory hasn't changed in Boise. So all the terrible things I said about Boise aren't really true. As you can see, we did get a little over 10,000 in Vegas in 2022, which is evaporating like crazy. We've already knocked 30% of that off. Another one I got was San Diego. And if you look at San Diego's in the opposite boat. Normally there they have 4,000 to 7,000 houses on the market. And right now there's 2,000 houses in all of San Diego. And you can see how that number has tanked. Even in the fall, it was a little over 4,000, which is a normal spring market. And it was less than going down, which is an area we've been looking at. But you can go through and look at those charts. What's the long term, Juana? Like, what do we think about where this is going? Like, obviously inventory tends to go up. And if you look at these charts, it shows you inventory every fall tends to go up.
Right. So you're looking at two things. One, probably the watershed moment is going to be interest rates going down.
Okay.
And then the other one is, even if interest rates don't go down, at some point, not all sellers, but some sellers are going to just throw their hands up and go, you know what, we're just so cramped, we got to go. And they'll just go out and buy something. May not be what they want, but it's something that maybe is a better situation than what they have. The issue that they have that they have now and they may have then is insufficient inventory. Now, it depends on what price point you're at. Like, for example, Vegas is really weird. So homes under $1 million are selling. Homes over $2.5 million are selling. Homes between $1 million and $2.5 million, not so much. Weird. So every market's a little bit different. So it depends on what those sellers who are looking to buy are looking for in their market, as to which market starts to thaw out sooner. But like I said, the watershed moment is going to be interest rates going down, because that's going to make it more likely that everyone will consider putting their homes on the market that have just been waiting. Because remember, all these people have been waiting on the sidelines. Those that missed the boat last year, those people still want to sell. They still want to do whatever it is that they want to do, but they're waiting for whatever that they feel is advantageous for them. So right now we're, almost 9 months into this waiting game. How much longer are they going to wait? And the longer we wait, the more pent-up demand there is.
Yeah.
And that means that when we have that watershed moment, we're going to very likely see a frenzy. And frenzy creates froth. Froth, remember last year, that wasn't so great. So we're just it's going to be the cycle all over again, which is, from my perspective, not something that benefits anybody. I mean, you may think that it benefits sellers, but remember, these sellers are also buyers on the other end, so it doesn't really benefit them. The only people that it benefits is the people doing the transactions.
We're doing transactions.
And title companies and home inspectors and lenders and people like that.
Yeah.
So buyers and sellers, sorry, not so much. I would like to see people kind of thaw out gradually rather than having a watershed moment.
This is going to take out a lot of real estate agents. A lot of people are going to go back and get jobs and stuff, because I'm hearing anecdotally of a lot of people just saying, I can't live on this. I need to get a job. Real estate agents.
Right.
And there'll be other people in the profession, because their home inspectors not doing home inspections. The whole process is slower.
Okay, but remember, we had a lot of people get into the real estate business over the last 2 years because they thought that was the place to be. So those are the people who are going to be exiting first. So I think we're just going to get back to some sort of an equilibrium that we had maybe a couple years ago.
Okay, a couple things I think. First of all, I think the low interest rates that we had have fundamentally changed real estate in the future, because those people aren't getting rid of properties. I've talked to people that have sub 2% mortgages. Mm-hmm. They're never selling. Why would they give up? They borrowed. Why would they want to liquidate that asset that's appreciating far greater at the money they lent on it? Mm-hmm. To pull out the equity and get taxed on it? Like, they're not going to do that. They can't roll it to another investment property, because then they would have to, if it's not fully paid off. To imagine this, you have a property that's $1 million fourplex, and you put $250,000 on it. You have a loan for $750,000. Now you're paying off the loan, but you refied and got a 2% rate, right? And you're saying, well, I want to take that fourplex and go buy another fourplex. In order to do that, you have to sell that fourplex and 1031 the money, so you don't pay taxes. The problem is, when you take your money, say you got $300,000 or $400,000 of equity, you pull it out, go put it on the other house, you still got to get a loan for the difference. Mm-hmm. It's, even though the loan amount will be less, you'll still pay more in a monthly payment. So you're like, why would I ever sell it? And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing people who are not ever going to sell, or they're going to be very hesitant to sell. We already know we're 6.5 million single-family homes short in the U.S. Mm-hmm. That's a fundamental problem. So inventory is the problem. Whenever anyone says, oh, well, the blah, 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 the foreclosures aren't coming, there is no shadow inventory, there's no, the interest rates aren't doing anything, and it's very unlikely that a recession will do anything other than cause interest rates to go. So remember, something bad happens in the economy, something's good has been happening. So interest rates are higher, everyone, oh my gosh, interest rates are high, and then what happened? Employment went up, wages went up, new home building went down, inventory went down. Like, all of these things affect housing more than just interest rates went up.
Right.
And we've seen froth. We still have froth in some markets. And then the last thing I'm going to point out what Juana said, we are sensing this massive amount of pent-up demand that as soon as we get a reasonable number of things, it won't be enough to crash because the people will flood back into the market. Mm-hmm. And I don't think they'll care about interest rates because I'll talk to any loan officer and ask them, or mortgage person, say, hey, what's going on in your office? You know what they're saying? We're telling everyone to just buy what that they like, to get it while they can, and then in the future when interest rates are lower, they'll refi. They have all these creative loans that are not adjustable loans, but they're like you pay less in the first 3 or 4 years, mm-hmm. and then you have to refi it after I think 7 years. But so maybe we have a problem 7 years down the road, but right now, the problem we have is not enough inventory. We don't have a housing crash problem. We have not an inventory problem.
Right, and like I said, depending on the timing. If you do not have the move up houses start to turn first, then the people on the bottom are going to cause what move up houses there are to have multiple offers and that sort of thing because there's insufficient inventory. So this actually has to happen in a specific order. Otherwise, it creates. It creates a lot of froth and it creates a lot of anxiety and difficulty for buyers.
It's not going to happen.
Well, it's not going to happen.
The move-up buyer, they're not selling.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But
I don't think they're selling. Well, I think they're going to do
right. Some will, but what I'm saying is that unless the houses in the middle go on sale first, the people on the bottom are going to at some point still have to buy, but they won't sell.
All those inventory numbers you just saw in this video show one thing: more people are buying than selling. That's fundamentally what supply and demand is. It is two sides of a marketplace, mm-hmm. and the side of the marketplace that's winning are the buyers from a sense that there's more of them. That's the bigger side of the marketplace, but there's not enough demand to satisfy that. So you have 37 million people, according to NerdWallet, that said they would buy a house this year. With right now, the rate it's more than they thought it was. It was going to be only 4.2 million. Now it's going to be 4.6 million homes that are transacted this year. There are not going to be enough people. There are not going to be enough homes available for people to purchase. So this, even if when people go, oh, housing inventory is getting rigged up, we need it to go up. We need more new homes. We need some foreclosures. But we're not going to have them because nobody's late on their mortgages. Mm-hmm. We need people to sell, but they're not going to. You can't make them sell. So I see this as potentially it's a long-term problem. Unless interest rates get back to where everyone's comfortable that they're 2%, we'll get back to a normal market. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying prices are going to go up. The video we did the other day, who was it, CoreLogic or somebody said they go up 3% December to December, mm-hmm. year over year. Right. 2022 to 2023, they would go up 3% year over year. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I think they tend to go down every fall, right? They tend to drop from the spring to the fall. I would say if you're going to buy a house and you don't have to buy one now, there's a probability statistically there's more houses available in the fall.
Right.
And there's less competition. You should be buying in the fall. I said it last year and I was right. And I even picked the exact 4 months, October, November, December, January. I'd say the same months this year. And
that's a possibility unless interest rates start heading south in the fall, in which case that you're going to get buyers flooding in the fall, which right. is not what ordinarily happens.
Yeah.
So we'll see. What do you think? Are we looking at lower interest rates in the fall? Are we looking at more inventory in the fall, more choices? Are the people in the bottom 2 quarters of the market, are they going to sell given the opportunity to buy something else? Are they going to hang on to properties? What are your thoughts? Let us know. We're always interested in what you have to say. Please like the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell, share the video, and we appreciate you being here. We'll see you on the next video. Bye.
Bye.